Lesson 1. ESWACAA Regulations and Licensing. Welcome to our first lesson on ESWACAA ATPL Knowledge Test Fundamentals, focusing on regulations and licensing. In Eswatini, the Eswatini Civil Aviation Authority, or ESWACAA, is the national body responsible for personnel licensing. They implement national law that aligns with ICAO standards and recommended practices, retaining full licensing powers. The official language of their 2011 licensing regulations is English. The Airline Transport Pilot License is the highest airplane pilot license level. When all other requirements are met, it grants you privileges as pilot in command in multi-crew commercial air transport. To exercise these privileges, you must hold a Class 1 medical certificate, which reflects the higher medical standards expected for airline operations. Under Regulation 48, ATPL applicants must demonstrate aeronautical knowledge across prescribed areas appropriate to the airplane category. Once you pass your knowledge examination, Regulation 21 dictates that this pass remains valid for exactly 5 years after the examination date for the purpose of issuing your license. If 6 years have passed without the license being issued, the knowledge pass falls outside this validity window and can no longer be used. Finally, if you are converting or validating a foreign license, be prepared. ESWACAA conversion processes do not always grant automatic full credit. As a prudent candidate, you should expect that a composite or supplementary knowledge paper may be required to cover differences, particularly concerning air law and operational procedures, to ensure you meet Eswatini national requirements.
Lesson 2. Aircraft Systems and Instrument Fundamentals. In this lesson, we will cover critical aircraft systems and instrument behaviors expected on the ATPL exam. Let us start with the electrical system. In large transport airplanes, a transformer rectifier unit is used to convert alternating current electrical power to direct current for your DC buses and equipment. If you lose all engine-driven generators in flight, essential electrical power is temporarily provided by the main battery, a ram air turbine, or the APU, depending on the aircraft design. In the hydraulic system, accumulators serve to store pressure energy to dampen surges and offer limited emergency backup pressure. Flight control systems on these conventional transports use hydraulic power. Because powered controls lack natural aerodynamic feedback proportional to airspeed and deflection, artificial feel units are fitted to restore these speed and load-related stick forces. Additionally, a yaw damper system is primarily intended to suppress Dutch roll and improve directional damping, particularly on swept-wing jets. For the cabin environment, pressurization systems maintain a cabin altitude significantly lower than the flight altitude. If a rapid depressurization occurs at high altitude, your primary required action is to don oxygen masks, initiate an emergency descent, and manage communications and passenger oxygen according to procedure. You also need to understand instrument errors. For instance, if a pitot tube becomes blocked while the static port remains open, the trapped pitot pressure will cause the airspeed indicator to overread during a climb. Finally, when operating an autopilot with altitude hold mode engaged, the system primarily relies on barometric altitude feedback, using pitch control as needed to maintain the selected altitude.
Lesson 3. Performance, Flight Planning, and Crew Management. Our final lesson covers performance planning and multi-crew concepts. Proper loading is vital. If an aircraft's basic empty mass is 42,000 kilograms, its traffic load is 12,500 kilograms, and takeoff fuel is 9,800 kilograms, the total takeoff mass is 64,300 kilograms. Increasing this takeoff mass will increase the takeoff distance required and reduce your climb gradient capability. Balance matters just as much. If an aircraft with a total mass of 60,000 kilograms has its center of gravity located 0.20 meters forward of the datum, the moment is 12,000 kilogram meters forward. Moving a heavy cargo pallet aft without changing total mass moves the center of gravity aft, which can reduce static longitudinal stability margins if you approach the limits. During your flight, you will use altimeter settings to maintain correct vertical separation. When climbing out under instrument flight rules, you must change your altimeter from QNH to the standard pressure setting when climbing through the transition altitude, unless local procedures dictate otherwise. QNH itself indicates altitude above mean sea level. In commercial operations, you will fly using multi-crew procedures with defined pilot flying and pilot monitoring roles.
The primary purpose of standard operating procedures is to provide a shared, predictable method of operating that reduces error and supports cross-monitoring. Threat and Error Management, or TEM, is a key part of this. Under TEM, an unexpected thunderstorm on your arrival path is classified as a threat that must be managed to avoid errors and prevent undesired aircraft states. Maintaining crew awareness is critical, especially since hypoxia time of useful consciousness decreases rapidly at higher altitudes without supplemental oxygen.
Thanks for watching. For free practice questions, study guides, and flashcards, visit exampreprise.com. Good luck on your exam!